Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Mrdoctorwhofan13 here again, bringing you another Doctor Who First Impressions video. And today, I'm bringing you this one quite late, but I'll explain so when we get to it. I'm giving my first impressions on Doctor Who, Series 8, Episode 3, Robot of Sherwood. Now, the reason why I've delayed this one is because this was a difficult one to think about. I've watched the episode twice. Now, you see, this was a very, very difficult episode for me to think about and review. Because I wasn't really sure what to make of it on the first viewing. But then after watching it again, I was still a bit uncertain about it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't necessarily great. It was a decent story. But anyway, time to get into the review. So, Doctor Who, Robot of Sherwood. I really, to be honest, going into this episode, I wasn't really. I had mixed feelings about it because it was written by Mark Gatiss, and obviously for that, thumbs up, because Mark Gatiss is a fantastic writer. In fact, in my opinion, the only bad script he's ever written is the Crimson Horror. But yeah, I was really excited for this. I was looking forward to seeing what Mark Gatiss had to do with Capaldi's Doctor, but at the same time, I also like the concept of Doctor Who with Robin Hood as well. But at the same time, I was a bit sceptical about putting a dark and serious Doctor in a fun, light-hearted situation. Now, that's not to say that all episodes excuse me, of Capaldi's era as a Doctor have to be dark and serious and gritty. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I'm not sure. Whenever I was a bit worried because this is a dark and serious Doctor, but I wasn't sure how he was going to react in a fun environment. So yeah, but I do think Capaldi did well with what he had. He tried his best with the dialogue, and his acting was great. Although the main problem with this story are the plot and the villains. Now, the villains, the robots, with the exception of a few deaths, which I really like how Series 8 is actually killing people off, starting to grow a pair of balls. Doctor 2's starting to grow a pair of balls now. But with the exception of a few deaths, I really, really didn't like how the robots in this story were really quite forgettable. I mean, they didn't really do anything. They weren't on screen much, and I didn't really find them menacing at all, with the exception of a few kills. But nah, they could have been handled a heck of a lot better. Let's see. Also, the plot. Now, the plot. Now, I was a bit mixed on the plot, to be honest. There were elements that I liked and elements that I didn't like. I liked the fact that we actually got to see the twist at the end about the mystery of Robin Hood. Is he real? Is he a legend? And all that. The end result of that, about him, spoiler alert, being real, and just remembered as a legend. That's a very interesting concept, actually. You know what? It just leads you to think, might have been real, might have been a legend. You never know, he could be coming back for Dark Water and Death in Heaven. But yeah, I'm really not sure about that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with that concept, though, if they bring Robin Hood back later in the series, in the finale, hopefully, fingers crossed. But this recurring theme of the Promised Land, I think it's a good idea. I also really like that. But to be honest, I didn't like Capaldi's dialogue. in this story. Because it felt like a Matt Smith script. If Matt Smith was a doctor, then this would have been more acceptable. But no, we have Capaldi now, and most of the dialogue is too silly even for him to say. That scene with him fighting Robin Hood with a spoon feels like something that the last Doctor would do, like Matt Smith. That would probably be acceptable if it was for that Doctor. But this one, it just all feels forced and out of character, and honestly something that the Doctor wouldn't do. That this Doctor wouldn't do, at least. Also, I do think that it was a very forced idea. In fact, that's the best way up to sum up half the problems with this episode. Forced. I think it was really forced, the idea of the Doctor, and again, out of character. The Doctor was really out of character in this story. About him just trying to just like being so determined to prove that Robin Hood is a legend and everything. I mean, it's just... it could have been handled a lot better. Nice concept, Mark Gatiss, but it really could have been handled better, if you know what I mean. But, yeah, so... this is all... basically... yeah, I didn't really like... sorry, I lost track there. I didn't really like what they did with the Doctor's dialogue and action and everything in this, but I did like Robin Hood. The guy who played... I've forgotten his name now, but the guy who played him, he did a fantastic job. Sheriff of Nottingham was good as well. Although, we can all at least agree that the ending was so tacked on, so rushed, so shoehorned in, it was cheap. Basically the Doctor, they all fire a little golden arrow up at the ship, and it suddenly takes off, it blows up with a massive surge of energy, but... I really felt as though that was a lame way of ending the story. But hey, what are you gonna do? I can't really explain it, to be honest. Also, most of the things I didn't like about this episode, by the way, were mostly to do with the ending. When the Doctor and Clara left Marion, left Robin with Marion, you just think, that just left me thinking, what the hell? As far as it was nice, a nice gesture, but from what we heard earlier on, I think Marion, I wasn't sure if she died or if she went missing. She must have gone missing or something, because Clara said don't give up finding her, but looking for her, but... it's just... I really didn't like what they did at the end, where did Marion come from? I know she's part of the Robin Hood legend, because I love Robin Hood. I used to watch, the BBC TV series with Jonas Armstrong and everything. But... I felt as though Marion was just a bit thrown in there at the end as a nice little gesture for Robin or something. I don't know. Mark Gatiss had to end this story somehow. Direction was great by Paul Murphy. He's directing The Caretaker in a few weeks' time, which I'm really looking forward to. The special effects were really well done, and I really actually do like Paul Murphy's direction, so I'm looking forward to see how The Caretaker looks, which is going to be written by Gareth Roberts and Stephen Moffat. But, yeah, so... one thing that I did think was a saving grace about this episode, though, was the banter between the Doctor and Robin. That was hilarious to watch, and just the scenes with the Doctor and Robin alone were the best part of the story. Sort of how, in The Day of the Doctor, the scenes between Matt Smith, David Tennant, and John Hurt were the highlight of the story. The Doctor and Robin, Peter Capaldi, and I've forgotten his name, the guy that played Robin, but the scenes between them, those were the best parts of the story, and those were the parts where I was actually laughing at. This was a really, really funny script written by Mark Gatiss. Really. And Clara... I felt as though she wasn't given quite... She was like, I mean, she wasn't bad in this story by all means, but she wasn't given as much to do in this episode as she was in Deep Breath and Into the Dalek. I felt as though she could have been used a bit more. There was one standout scene with her, but, you know, with the Sheriff of Nottingham and all that, but I didn't really think much to it. I felt as though she was better handled in Deep Breath and Into the Dalek than she was in Robot of Sherwood. But I really didn't really... I was just a bit... Yeah, she could have been handled better. This story, it could have and should have been better. That's what I'm trying to get across. It was a nice little story. It was fun, but it's the weakest of Series 8 so far. It's weaker than Deep Breath, weaker than Into the Dalek. In fact, this is from best to worst. Series 8 so far, I ranked them like from top to bottom. Into the Dalek, Deep Breath, and Robot of Sherwood. So, yeah, Deep Breath's the middle one, and Robot of Sherwood is unfortunately the weakest. So, this wasn't a crap story, but Mark Gatiss... Sorry, mate. This Matt Smith isn't the Doctor anymore. As much as I love his work, this wasn't one of his stronger scripts. I mean, it was better than The Crimson Horror, better than Victory of the Daleks, possibly. But that's about it, I think. I mean, I love Mark Gatiss's writing. I really do. There's a lot of, like, I mean, Cold War is one of the best stories in the new series, and that's, that was written by him, that's his best script. The Unquiet Dead, again, brilliant story. The Idiot's Lantern, really like that one. Night Terror's one of my favourites. But yeah, that's about the Crimson Horror and Victory of the Daleks. Victory of the Daleks is alright, but the Crimson Horror I don't really like. But Robot of Sherwood, it's sort of on par with Into the Dark. No, not Into the Dark. Victory of the Daleks, I'd say. Like, it's sort of 5, 6 out. It's better than Victory of the Daleks, slightly, but yeah, I don't know. It's Mark Gatiss's, like, third to weakest script, I'd say. But it's overall, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just could have been better. Out of 10, I'd give Robot of Sherwood 6. There were moments that I liked, moments that I didn't like. It was all over the place. Could have been better. Could have been better. But it kept me entertained, I'll say that. So, I shall, that's going to be it for this week. This is Mrdoctorwhofan13's saying word out. And I shall see you next week, hopefully hopefully I'll react to this next one sooner, with Listen, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Douglas McKinnon. So yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention at the start of this video. Robot of Sherwood was written by Mark Gatiss and directed by Paul Murphy, but yeah, so next week is going to be Listen, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Douglas McKinnon. Usually I'd be a bit iffy on a Moffat script, but judging by how good Deep Breath was, and also judging by how the Next Time trailer has got me hooked and the idea for this story has just got me hyped, I am unusually optimistic about Listen. So I shall see you next week for my first impressions on Listen. It looks like it's going to be a really cracking story, to be honest. It looks like it's going to be like a 9 out of 10, I'd say. Looks like the scariest story since Blink, I'll say that. Or is it Silence in the Library and Forest? I don't know. Probably the scariest episode since Forest of the Dead, at least, it looks like. But, I don't know, we'll see. It looks scary, it looks really good, and the trailer's got me hooked as hell. So I shall see you next week for my first impressions on Listen.